Kelsey, how you feeling?
Thank you.
Kelsey, why you shoot that girl?
Hey guys, it's your girl, Kelsey Nicole. So you guys know that Kelsey Nicole finally took the stand today to give her testimony on what allegedly occurred on the night of July 12th, 2020. However, everyone was in for a shock when Kelsey Nicole came into the courtroom and immediately evoked her Fifth Amendment.
Oh my God. When we walked out of that courtroom just now, every single person was shocked. Every single person was frozen. A lot of people were looking at me like, bro, tell me what is going on. Kelsey took the stand. Before she even started talking, there were fireworks. This started with Kelsey coming in and saying she is invoking her Fifth Amendment right to remain silent and not testify. When someone invokes the Fifth Amendment, they have to be invoking it because if they were to testify, they would be giving testimony that incriminates themselves. She said, I will not testify because I would be giving testimony that I'm incriminating myself.
So, of course, this got everybody all excited thinking that, oh my God, Kelsey must have shot Megan because what else could she be saying to incriminate herself on the stand if that's not it, right? Well, wrong, because later on throughout her testimony, she says that she also did not shoot Megan. So if she did not shoot Megan, and well, how is she incriminating herself, or how did she think she was going to be incriminating herself on the stand unless she was admitting to actually shooting Megan? And that is really the burning question right now, because apparently when Megan was asked this question repeatedly, she just kept saying, you know, she was just trying to protect herself. But exactly what were you trying to protect if you were not the shooter and you had nothing to do with that?
Why was she protecting herself? She didn't want to incriminate herself. And then there was this back and forth exchange that just kept going on. They were saying the same thing to each other. I don't know why the judge allowed it. The prosecutor's like, why? She's like, to protect myself. Why? To protect yourself from what? And she just kept saying, to protect myself. Finally, they moved on.
Now, what Kelsey did do was get on the stand and decide to contradict everything that she had told prosecutors, back in September of 2022, where apparently she had told them that Tory had shot Megan, that Tory had offered her money to keep quiet, basically, and that Tory had hit her. So this is a little confusing because it's like, okay, Kelsey, if Tory is sitting here, his team is sitting here, accusing you of being the shooter, why are you sitting here deciding now to change your original story of what you told prosecutors admitting that he was the shooter? Why didn't you just go ahead and keep the same story? Because again, you're not even saying exactly how you were trying to protect yourself and what you were trying to protect yourself from, especially if it wasn't because of you shooting Megan. If you didn't shoot Megan, then what exactly are you protecting? Because at this point, it's starting to look like you're protecting Tory, because none of this makes sense whatsoever.
It moved on. Prosecutor's story basically comes down to this. They're introducing evidence that Kelsey seems to deny, but then doesn't seem to deny, as far as Tory making offers to say, hey, I'll give you this money when they're in the car and the police are coming up behind them and there's a helicopter overhead. Tory's like, yeah, I'll give you $1 million. Don't say anything. And she's like, I didn't take that. I didn't know what he was talking about. And then there's another meeting that happens later on between Tory and her. And she says, I didn't take any money. But she, at the same time, doesn't deny that offers were made.
So here's where we have a problem. If Kelsey is not denying that there was money offers made from Tory to keep quiet, then it makes it look like the stories that both Kelsey and Megan told about money being offered to keep quiet was the truth originally. And Tory definitely was offering this money to keep them quiet from him being the shooter that night. Whether it was intentional or not, Tory, you must have did the shooting for you to be offering this money to them to keep quiet. And furthermore, this is bad for Tory because it makes it look like Kelsey is just sitting here on the stand denying everything she originally told prosecutors, hoping to still get a payout, or maybe even because she is just mad at her friend Megan and trying to get back at her in this moment. Because let's be honest about something. Tory cannot be giving out any transactions throughout any time throughout this case, or it would definitely make him look guilty of trying to pay them off. So obviously, obviously neither of them could get a payment until this situation was over and he was definitely free and in the clear. So at this point, the question does have to pop up: is Kelsey sitting here on the stand lying for Tory, hoping to still get a payout in the end? You offering to pay for and or possibly paying for Kelsey's attorney also does not look good. The other thing that doesn't make you look good, Tory, is the fact that now you have two witnesses who were in the car who are claiming that they just didn't see or hear nothing, basically. Kelsey has completely changed her story around, and the security guard, when he was questioned by police, and this is the police report on the screen, was that he did not hear anything at all, and he really couldn't offer police no information, but he did offer up the fact that he did own a gun, but he did not have one on him that night. So there's that. So the only thing I feel like Kelsey probably really lied about was Tory assaulting her after the shooting, because Megan didn't testify to this either. She claimed she didn't see this at all. And trust and believe me, I think that if Megan had saw this or even knew that Kelsey had said something like this to prosecutors, she would have definitely tried to use this for her defense, because it would have worked for her. I mean, hello, he just shot her and then abused her friend. So why not use that to help you out? So I truly believe that that's the only part of Kelsey's story that she told prosecutors that wasn't the truth, but everything else may have possibly been the truth. And it definitely is coming off as if she is protecting Tory if she cannot explain exactly how she's incriminating herself in this case. Like, if you didn't shoot Megan, I really need to know exactly what are you going to say that's incriminating yourself on the stand. Now, on top of all of that, I can't wait to hear cross-examination, where I hope we get to finally hear what she's going to say about this text message, since she's over here denying everything else that she told prosecutors. What is going to be your explanation concerning this text message that you sent Megan's security? I want to know. So Kelsey did give her version of events of what happened that night at Kylie's gathering and a little bit of what happened in the car. And Kelsey did contradict Megan's story about not being thrown out by Kylie on her return for her slipper. Megan's claims that they only left Kylie's house once, when they actually left her house twice. That it was Megan who didn't want to leave also, not just Tory. That it was only just a crush and Kelsey and Tory weren't intimate when they actually were. That Kelsey had only been there for 2 days before the gathering at Kylie's, and it was actually 2 weeks before the gathering at Kylie's. And that both her and Megan were outside the car when shots were fired, not just Megan. So we have yet to hear from her what happened after all that arguing in the car. How did we get to the shooting that she never saw happen? So hopefully all of those missing details will be answered during the rest of testimony and cross-examination, because as of right now, all we really have is a bunch of lies, he say, she say, no evidence, and 2 people with residue on them, and only one pointing the finger at the other, and the other, meaning Kelsey, just denying she saw anything or was the shooter. So where do we go from here? Stay tuned.
For the cross-examination, what I'm looking and expecting for the defense to do is basically pin Kelsey as the shooter. They're going to start with the gunshot residue. They're going to say she's got gunshot residue on her. And then they're going to start pointing out to all, and there are so many, I don't even think you can cover them all, of the inconsistencies in the stories between Meg and Kelsey. One of the biggest inconsistencies that I can't make any sense of is Meg says that she was out of the car alone. Kelsey says, no, we were both out of the car. She said that today in court, we were both out of the car when the shots happened. Kelsey vehemently denied that she saw any type of shooting, and she kind of kept saying that there were just gunshots that went off. She did not admit how. I think a juror is going to go one of 2 ways. A juror is going to look at this and say she's been paid off, she's lying for Tory, Tory's a criminal mastermind, guilty. I think a juror might look at her and say she's trying to protect herself from incriminating herself about being involved in this shooting. And so she's lying, and maybe she's the shooter, and that's enough for me to say reasonable doubt the prosecution hasn't met their burden. We shall see. This case is not ending anytime soon. Stay tuned.